I'm closest to the exit. Should they get to vote? What did I
Evening, I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Can everybody hear okay? No. Can't hear okay? Okay, can you hear now? Okay, well, according to this sign, we're at a public hearing tonight with the Municipal Budget Committee. And I'd like to introduce the members of the Municipal Budget Committee to you. Andy Adamovich is here as a representative from the Select Board. Michelle is our secretary, Michelle Suited. Lois DeYoung is a member, along with Anthony Phillips. Alina Arita is with us, and also Letty Bedard is a representative from the school board. So they've been busy for a year working up what we're going to present at this point. Tonight's purpose is to present the town and Swayze school warrant articles and citizen petitions with financial implications. We're also going to provide the budget committees and select board's recommendations, and finally we'll also hear public comment. To do that, we'll start with the town operating budget, and then move to the town warrant articles, the Swayze operating budget, and then the Swayze warrant articles, and finally touch on the co-op budget. So first, the town operating budget. It's made up of 40 departments, each with their own budget. The total of those budgets is the amount on this slide. The change is the increase in comparison to the prior year. The percent change is 12%. Inflation is a fact for our town as well as for our homes. The tax impact is the change in comparison to the prior year, $328 on a $400,000 house property. The format will be the same for all the slides. Is there any question about the format? Okay, please hold your applause for the, I'm sorry, that's a misprint. Please hold your questions for the end. And we can come back to any slide. If you can tell us the number, which is in the lower right corner, or the title, or something about the subject. we'll find it. Okay, so the real question is, what is in the nearly $600,000 increase? Okay, this is an important slide. It accounts for 85% of the $600,000 increase. And it highlights the priorities for the coming year. The departments are listed in descending order by size of their dollar increase. And I'll read them because I'm not sure everyone is able to see. First, fire department, then benefits, which is for all 25 employees of the town, and the police department, the library, highway, snow and ice control, and finance. Okay, then. Smaller increases are on this slide: recreation, code enforcement, town administrator, rubbish collection, legal, town clerk, and tax collector. Next slide, please. Okay, general government, insurance, information systems, assessing, recycling, government buildings, and planning board. Our all-stars are here. They're level funded accounts and even decreased accounts. Cemetery is listed here because I didn't have room on the previous slide. Level funded accounts, mosquito control, debt service, tax anticipation notes, regional associations, emergency management, conservation, welfare, zoning board, FICOM, joint loss management, street lighting, and health officers. Accounts that decreased are the executive office, town meeting, election, debt service principal, animal control officer, waste disposal, and debt service interest. This year we have funds available from the American Rescue Plan, known as ARPA. This is a federal program intended to stimulate the economy as COVID was depressing it. These funds have been allocated to the fire department, salaries, and medical insurance. The ARPA total of $221,000 saves a typical property owner $121 in tax impact. This reduces the tax impact of our town operating budget from $328 to $207. To our operating budget, we need to add the town warrant articles. Nearly $463,000 is a significant increase of 68%. So what is in these warrant articles? The warrant articles are listed here. Again, by decreasing amount, and this slide represents 82% of our warrant article cost. Road repair, $350,000. Amphitheater, $200,000. First responder radios, $168,000. Highway building, $150,000. Full-time police officer, almost $74,000. Highway vehicle, $50,000. Fire vehicle, $50,000. Building maintenance, $25,000. IT hardware, $25,000. revaluation, $25,000, and police facility, $25,000.
Jack, go back to the original number. What was the total for the warrant articles?
Andy will have to, really, I'd like to save these questions, until we come back, but for right now, there's your numbers. Town warrant articles, 1,141,000, which is an increase of 463,000, which is a 68% increase. Slide 12, good. Stay with 12 for a moment. Yeah. Each of these warrant articles will have a separate vote at town meeting. Now, next up is Swayze School. After a decrease last year, the Swayze operating budget is up 6.5% this year. The overall budget with warrant articles is up 9%. Finally, we come to the co-op budget, which has an operating budget and a collective bargaining agreement. Okay. The total proposed for all 6 towns is $69 million. Brentwood's share of that is 15%. In the bottom row here is Brentwood's 15% share. There is a 4% increase for all towns. Skip back. So combining the town operating budget after ARPA and with the warrant articles and the Swayze operating budget and warrant articles and Brentwood's share of the co-op, the grand total of proposed expenses is $23.7 million. This is an increase of 8% over the prior year. Okay. The Budget Committee and the Select Board recommend voting in favor of the town budgets and warrant articles at town meeting. The Swayze budget is also recommended by the Budget Committee. It is not reviewed by the Select Board. The co-op budget is not reviewed by the Budget Committee or the Select Board. Please keep in mind we've only addressed budget expenses here, with the exception of ARPA. The state will assess revenues, credits, and changes in the town's valuation to establish our actual tax rate. There are meetings coming up, the school district meeting, the town election, and town meetings. All meetings are at Swayze School, and the school and town meeting will be a chance to make last-minute changes to this budget. Child care will be provided at both town meetings, the town meeting and the school district meeting. Now you think it's your chance to make comments, but I'm going to make the first comment. This year we had 7 items of $100,000 or more. Looking forward, the BudCom will be investigating long-range planning techniques to level expenditures and avoid the confluence of large investments that occurred this year. Now, are there any questions or comments?
About anything?
I'm sorry?
About anything? Are you taking questions about anything?
About anything to do with the budgets.
Should I go with that? Hello?
You only get 5 minutes, you can't keep it all night.
Hello? I'm pretty loud, but I'll get it this way. So, the co-op budget, which of course we have no control over,
You're not on.
doesn't mind. How about the co-op budget, which we have no control over, which we would have had control over?
Come over here.
Doesn't have
Just don't. Okay, close.
Okay. Is this good now? I can't, not allowed to do that. Because I have cooties. I have cooties. Okay. So the co-op budget, which was last Sunday at 2 o'clock at the high school, co-op $69 million budget. Out of a possible 26,119 registered voters, 26,016 didn't show. For a $69 million budget. If maybe 20 or 25 more Brentwood people who were fiscally conservative or reasonable came, it would have been down $2 or $3 more million. 103 people showed up, 33 were from Brentwood, out of 26,119. But we don't have anything to do with that, except at the polls. The default budget is almost the same as the 168, 169. So you can vote up or down there, but if you vote down, it will at least not support that huge budget. In the last 10 years, the population of the co-op has gone down 711 children in 10 years and gone up $20 million. So that's one we should really look at. I don't want to address any of the warrant articles because we'll address all of those at the town meeting. I would just like to point out a few salary increases. The rec director is going up 11.87%. The deputy tax collector is going up 17.86%. The town administrator is going from $91,086 to $100,359, or an increase of 10.18%. The library director is going up 26%. The library assistant director is going up 41.40%. And the library assistants are going up 30%. That's an operating budget. So if you want to affect that and go to what Jennifer Jones, our select vice chair, was suggesting, 7 or 7.5% for this year, there's a lot of cutting that could be done for the operating budget. Thank you.
I think this works now. Yep.
Am I allowed to make a comment to, sorry, am I allowed to comment back to,
Excuse me, name and address.
sorry, Kim Leo, 23 Brentwood Street. Liz, we've gone over this, I don't know how many times. A lot of the library was a salary adjustment due to inequity of their pay. Just going up, saying a percentage, it's not a fair evaluation of what we are spending in town. By saying that we're doing this huge percentage, we weren't paying them equitably. And I try to attend as many of the cooperative things as possible, and saying that if we only had a few more people at the meeting, it would have changed it. No, it wouldn't have. I'm sorry you feel that way, but these budgets are worked on tirelessly. I thank you guys for all that you do for the budget and putting it together, because the amount of time, hours, and energy that goes into this is insane. And thank you for all the work that you do put into this to try and bring us to a reasonable budget and keep our town running.
I'm just curious,
And
those who, Bill Korea, South Road. Bill Korea, South Road. When are we gonna know the tax rate?
When what?
November of this coming year. So if we don't really know, I mean, we can only estimate what our increases are gonna be until we know the tax rate. And what, are we 2 or 3 years away from the new reevaluation?
It'll happen in 2025.
So 2 more years. So we won't know the tax rate till November, which could mean up or down, right?
Yeah, depends on if our revenues increase, the tax rate will potentially be
So the way
reduced.
to fix that is to bring in lots of business. That's why we have an economic development plan, right? Just being one, I guess.
Is there any chance you could summarize what you said, because we couldn't hear from over here, what that?
I asked
Basically
what the
what-
tax rate was gonna be, and they said November, and the tax rate then let you know what the real increase is gonna be, or what's made a decrease, we don't know. And the only way to offset that is if you bring in economic development, which, we've been, I don't want to say, we've been pursuing for a long time. Cleaned it up, so we can do it.
Yes?
Working? What, I'd like to say that,
Name and address, please.
what?
Name and address. Name and address.
I was working on it. I am Lois DeYoung of Crawley Falls Road, and this is my last evening on the Budget Committee, and this is why I'd like to speak. The one thing I'd like you all to know is, I'm stepping down, but I want someone else to spec up who needs, who can do the money and handle it. We have a new Budget Committee that's coming together better as far as looking at the real numbers. And I want you, my point to this whole thing is, tonight, what if you pass was everything on this budget, a $400,000 house in this town, which is the average price, will go up $1,013 on your tax bill, just so you know.
Without the public.
Well, that's everything, that's tonight, what, tonight? That's just tonight. What we- Probably need to think about, we would like to get it, at town meeting, you'll have a chance to bring that figure down. And if you don't, that's what your tax bill is gonna look like. 400,000.
Thank you. Antoine Allard from Pickpocket Road. I'm new to the town since 4 years. I'm new to this country since 10 years. I noticed the opportunity of the federal funds, what you call ARPA. There was a good comment in the Brentwood newsletter about the fact that using this one-off amount of money to increase salaries meant that in the long time we probably had to carry over the increase in salaries. That's one way to look at the thing, but that's a reasonable business decision. I wonder if there were other ways to use the ARPA funds that would instead distribute the increase differently so that we could avoid increasing the taxes at the end in the long term. That's my first comment. My second comment about being conservative in the budget or not, a 10% increase is unfortunately not too far from the reality of the economy of this country, and therefore, as much as it's a high increase on our taxes, I'm afraid it reflects the reality of the economy right now. How to find a compromise between these short-term increases and the long-term durability is a passionate debate, and I'm very glad to hear that everybody participate and bring new ideas to the table. Thank you.
Yes, we also would like to apply the ARPA funds to maybe a longer-term investment, but there are restrictions on the application of the ARPA funds, and we need to basically apply them in the operating budget. In other words, the whole purpose of the rescue plan was to get money into the economy in order to try to offset some of the depression from COVID. So That's the reason that it was applied there. In the end, it's actually just subtracted from the appropriations and has the same net effect on the budget for this year. Did I do that about right? Okay. Other questions, comments?
Hi, Liz McConnell from Stevens Drive. I just wanted to say thank you to the BudCom when they did review our library budget after we had worked on it a lot of hours with a couple of the BudCom members. Our budget for the library was passed on a 5-to-1 vote. So thank you. We appreciate the work you've done and the support you show for the library.
I just have one final comment. Anybody else? I defer to anybody else first. Liz Faria, South Road again. I'm just wondering if somebody's taking count of the number of registered voters here tonight. Are you getting that, Letty?
I was counting the number of people in the audience. I can't differentiate between registered voters and employees.
Can we stand or sit? I'm just wondering how many, we have 3,300 registered voters. So raise your hand or something. No?
I don't.
Okay, no, I'm just meaning, this is for the. Okay. No, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to discriminate, I'm just saying that registered voters.
Yes. There was a list that got passed around and we can look at it.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
I'm just, yeah, that's all.
Your point, Liz, your point is that there are
So
too few registered voters here at this meeting, is that your point?
Well, I think so, there's
Yeah.
3,300 registered voters and there's a program going on in the library. It's really good.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're competing with Rebecca Rule at the library. And
Yeah, she's very good.
yeah, yes.
I just wondered if there's more than, 33 here.
Okay, are there any other comments or questions at this point? Oh. Stay seated till. Carol, did you get a head count?
No, I did not. I was asked to stop.
It was like 25.
Yeah.
33 was
25?
everybody in.
Oh, I flipped it.
Yeah, 33.
Again, here we go.
Janice from the library. I just want to clarify that the program happening at the library is not a library-sponsored program, but in fact a program put together by the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Historical Society. We are simply the venue. So this was, we did go back and forth and try to change the date, but it was just, unfortunately, could not be done. So it is unfortunate, but that's the fact.
Chris Carmody from Crawley Falls Road. The discussion of how many people are here tonight is bothering me, that, and I am here, that we're implying that a person who's here is a better resident and more, caring more about the budget than those who are not, when there is many, many valid reasons why someone wouldn't be here tonight. Children, jobs, sports, anything else as well too. And it's 2023, there's many ways to get the information tonight. I'm assuming it's going to be in the newsletter, it'll be online, it's being recorded. So the implication, like, it just feels very rude to the people who aren't here, who have many other things. Like, my night was free, so I was here, but I think we need to stop pitting people who are here against people who aren't here and act like they don't care about the budget, because being here doesn't mean they don't care about the budget as well.
Thank you, good point.
Good evening, Steve Dawson from Brentwood. I want to say a couple things. One, I want to thank Jack and the budget committee. This has been a particularly tough year, I know, and it was an excellent, clear presentation. We really Lois has mentioned how big a hit this might be, depending on what the state does in terms of taxes. I think we should mention a warrant article coming up that will propose to help elderly, disabled veterans to have a greater offset on their taxes to help on this rise. So I think it's important to know to vote for that in terms of the upcoming town meeting for the warrant article. And finally, I've been to many of these meetings each year, and there's the same tension between people who are really struggling to meet their taxes and people who work for the town, who need reasonable income. It's always that tension. And this is just particularly true of our towns in New Hampshire, that we end up sort of pitted against each other because we are so dependent on property tax, more than any other state in the country. So we are getting less and less support from the state level taxes, and that puts more and more pressure each year on our local taxes. So as the board looks at long-term efforts to sort of smooth out and ease the pressure, I hope one of the efforts of the town select board as well as the budget committee is to be sending a message for the towns to Concord, to the state level, that this constant defunding of our towns by the state is what's causing so much of this pressure, and that we need to have a long-term strategy of much more reasonable taxation that doesn't force people who own property but don't have any control over their income. Prices keep going up. So I hope that's part of the long-term plan.
Well, we've been at it for 29 minutes here.
They did a pretty good job.
Have we covered everything at this point? Any other comments or questions?
One final thing, the last budget committee meeting of 1:30 was erased, and that was the one about all the warrant articles, so there's not always sort of a lot of ways to get information. I was busy, but you couldn't get it now. So there's just another, a lot of people aren't getting the newsletter now, and choose not to unless they write, because there's not most of this information needed to replace.
I'm going to have one exception. I think most of the time they do a pretty good job of not erasing.
Well, I think how many meetings did you have this year that were televised? Most of them are only televised.
All of them.
Except for race.
Did you check the live tab?
No, I was told by the town administrator it was erased.
The stream wasn't ended when the meeting was adjourned, and the stream continued until the next day.
It was streamed out.
Several meetings happened in that conference room during that time, so I chose to delete the video as opposed to releasing all of that. Since we don't have a lot of privacy in the town office,
Yep.
when we have employee matters.
Yep, that's perfectly reasonable.
This one.
If there are no further comments, thank you very much for your attention, and the meeting is adjourned.
Please put away your chair.
With the custodian. That's it. Exactly. All about yeah.